Rural Heritage on RFD TV is brought to you by Rural Heritage Magazine, a bi-monthly magazine featuring articles about farming and logging with draft animal power, small-scale diversified family farming and homesteading, and other aspects of our rich rural heritage. Rural Heritage Magazine, borrowing from yesterday to do the work of today. For subscription information, please call 319-362-3027 or order online at www.ruralheritage.com. Hi, I'm Joe Mishka. Welcome to another episode of Rural Heritage TV. Did you grow up in Russell Springs?
Yeah, I grew up right in this area right here. There used to be an old house right down there I grew up in, and then I was over just through the woods about half a mile part of the time. And this is my mother's family's land.
Okay.
We settled this area, I guess, back in the 1800s. It's called French Valley Road because the Bernards settled it.
Okay.
And the Hales, and my mother was Bernard.
Oh, all right.
So this is the old family land from them.
So how did you connect with Jason? You read an article.
Saw a picture and read an article, and I think
That's
it was in Mother Earth News.
Yeah,
a reprint that they did from '88. Yeah.
That's right. Now I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. Dad ran a tool and die shop, so I grew up working in the shop.
Okay.
And it was really hurting my back and my knees standing on the concrete. Of course, we would work 16-hour days. If a hot job come in, we had to get it out.
Right.
So it just took its toll on me. And so somewhere around 30, I saw I'm not going to be able to keep this up. And I happened to see that picture about the same time, and I thought, and Dad had acquired this land we're going to. Over the years, he's pieced together a pretty big chunk of land. And I thought, well, that's the way we need to log it. Because he always would talk about when he retired, he was going to go log. Well, he wanted to do it with the skidder.
Yeah.
But when I saw this, I thought, well, that suits me. Because I pulled cable a time or two for Dad, and that's hard work.
Right.
Way harder than horses.
Right.
At least for me it was. But then I went to one of Jason's events that he put on down in Midway, Tennessee back in 2009, I believe it was, and I got the chance to meet Jason, and he was good just to invite me to come up. You know, I didn't know anybody around here that you could go learn from.
Right.
And I thought that was way out of my comfort zone to do, just to meet somebody and go 400 miles away, spend several weeks at a time with him. But I just kind of felt like it's what I was supposed to do, so I got out of my comfort zone and went over there, and here we are today.
What kind of timber are you harvesting now at that where you're going?
Most of what will be in, of course, the ash, the emerald ash borers killed all of it. It's on the back side of saving right now. But there's always the ash, and I'm in some white oak and some chestnut oak and red oak mostly right now, which works out good because that's what the market's paying better for too. But there's something that's hitting the white oak.
Yeah, you were telling me this the last time I was visiting with you.
And I still have yet to hear any.
It's a kind of a blight, it seems like?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
And it starts out, you'll see some little white patches of fungus, usually lower down or midway up the tree. And then just a year or two after that, the bark starts flaking off. And you give it about another year and it looks like a skeleton there. It's dying quick.
Yeah,
and
wow.
oak usually lasts pretty good.
Right.
So whatever it is, I don't know. But I'm trying to get what I can salvage when I can, because it's...
You're seeing that here. Were you seeing it over by Berea when you were there logging?
Not as bad.
Okay.
It seemed like a little bit, but not really as bad. And I noticed it in other parts of the country too. So I think it's right now still maybe kind of spotty.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. He's stout.
If it's any longer, we'd have a little trouble with this trailer.
Right?
Works out just about right.
Yep.
Last year, we came out with our 4th volume in our America's Rural Yesterday series and included it in discounts customers get when ordering 2 or more. That promotion was so successful that we've now run out of the 3rd book in the collection, At Home and in Town, and won't be reprinting it until sometime later this year. We'll send the word out when that happens, but in the meantime, for the next several months, we're offering the other 3 books, Fieldwork, Barn and Farmyard, and Early Tractors, for $54.95 plus postage. Fieldwork shows horses working the ground, planting and harvesting the crops. Barn and Farmyard shows farmers putting away that crop and taking care of poultry, hogs, cattle, and more. Finally, Early Tractors shows early American tractors like Alice Chalmers, Oliver, John Deere, Farmall, and more when they were new. Buy any of the books for $24.95 plus postage, or all 3 for the special price of $54.95 plus shipping. Just call 319-362-3027 or visit ruralheritage.com. That's 319-362-3027.
So I pressure washed their harness the other day, try to get it looking nice. It's amazing how that nylon will come back and be really just like a brand new one.
Yeah.
It's hard to find anybody that wants to work for any length of time. That's the thing about a lot of the guys that come to work with me, I found, you know, after about 3 months, and they realize it's just the same old thing, it's just work. So the first thing I tell everybody is, if you don't like hard work, just don't waste your time, go on. It's hard work, but a lot of us like to work. You know, we need to do something with our time.
Right.
It's an enjoyment
You feel good when you're done with
to
it.
be accomplished. You know, you're accomplishing something. And
You see it pile along.
I got a guy right now. He's been with me for several months now out of Missouri, and I think he's probably going to make it. He seems like a real sharp guy. He comes at it with a lot more skills than a lot of people too. You know,
Sure.
he did a lot of traveling around. He worked for the railroad for 6 years. He can fabricate all his own stuff. And that's a big thing. When you can make your own arch or sled or whatever you need, that's
Yeah, and repair it.
I don't know how I could have ever made it without it. So he's kind of ahead of the game right there, and having all those skills. And he's got his own shop set up. He likes to tinker with blacksmithing. And I wish he'd been here today, but he's had some family issues. And
So he can't make a go of it just doing welding and repair work for people in the area, that kind of thing.
he probably could, but he just wants to do this. He's kind of like me. He reminded me of myself when he was telling me his story. He's just like, I never considered that this was something I could do. He likes horses. Well, here's a way you can use horses to make a living. He bought a team, but they're young horses still. They're just now 3 years old, so.
Is that a healing harvest arch that from the plans that Jason has on his website? I can't recognize arches too much.
It is.
How they are.
It's the original Healing Harvest arch with the modifications, the add-ons that I put on them. That one's pretty much the. But I can't see that. That one's pretty much the culmination of all the extras we've added and a lot of the safety features. I'm pleased with it. I'd like to say I'm done engineering, but you never know, because I had another idea the other day hit me, and I thought, I might try that one of these days. But I mean, every little thing we've done has helped it. It's made it a lot better arch, and it's made it a lot safer arch. You know, the original plans and the original arch is great, but you know, it didn't come with that I call that the dashboard. I don't know how those boys could ride that thing. I'm not steady enough on my feet when you go to hitting all the stuff we do.
You need something in front of you.
I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I like to stand up, because it's hard to take those jolts on your back.
Yes, sir.
So I like to stand up and bend my knees, and so that dashboard hits me just right there to keep me stable. All right.
You don't want to topple over forward.
You're right. My hat's off to the guys. So I mean, for years, have ridden them without that. And when I first put it on there, Jason told me, he said, you won't like that. And then I put it on, and I said, I can't see a thing wrong with it. And so then he wanted me to, he's a little hesitant, but I built his arch, and he said, well, go ahead and put it on. And Ashley, his daughter, when she first got on it, she said, this is sweet. She said this. And so he got used to it real quick, and now he probably wouldn't go back. But then we've added those bumpers, and I really like that, because you got a safe on and off. You cannot miss that step.
Right.
You just take a step and you're there.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, which the old one was just like a little horseshoe step.
Yeah, yeah.
And you had to be careful coming off, or you'd miss it and potentially wind up underneath it.
Yeah, and maybe even catch yourself on it.
And I've had a few guys look at that and say, no, that'll get you in trouble. But now I'm probably 5 years into it, and we've tested it. And I'm not saying that it won't. There may be the place, but I've not been there yet. The only drawback I can see to it is if you like to jump trees. You know, I've seen people that just take their arch and just run over trees. Yeah, right. If you like to do that, you can't do it on that, because that bumper pushes it out of the way. If you were in a place where that was necessary to do it, which I'm not sure where that would be, but some people like that.
Yeah, they like to drive over the lawn.
I think it's just the thrill of kind of four-wheel drive off-roading the arch or something.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also, I think sometimes it's a shortcut.
Yeah.
Instead of pulling ahead and backing up to something.
Yeah, or doing a little more effort and cutting something out of your way.
Right.
A little bit of lazy comes into play sometimes.
They would say efficiency.
Yeah. Well, I've found out most of the time, you either pay on the front end or pay on the back. You know, you do a little more effort in the beginning to save problems, or you have a lot more effort on the back end after you've had a wreck or something. So I usually try to take the time, have the foresight, first of all, to see the problem, and then take the time to prepare to make sure there's no problem.
Hi, I'm Joe Mishka. You probably know me as the guy behind the camera on our television program, Rural Heritage TV. I want to talk to you a little bit about our magazine. Since 1976, Rural Heritage Magazine has been bringing readers stories and photos about people working with draft animals, homesteading, restoring farm equipment, and otherwise borrowing from yesterday to do the work of today. Here's a sampling of some of the stories we covered recently. A one-year subscription costs $34.95 and includes 6 issues of over 100 pages each. To subscribe or get a sample copy, call 319-362-3027 or visit ruralheritage.com. That's 319-362-3027. Remember, if you like the TV show, you're going to love the magazine.
But that arch right there was given to me by a good friend named Kevin Tucker. You know Kevin out of Connecticut? He's a good friend of mine. But he had an old horse. He had a young horse colicked and died, and he had an old horse that got arthritic. And I mean, his whole plan with his horses was kind of dashed, and he just lost his enthusiasm to do it or whatever. So he gave me, just like the stock Healing Harvest, this little triangular part. And so the first thing I did was take it to the shop, and I added on the bumpers, the dashboard, the quick release, and then I've got it set up where you can put a drawbar across the back, and it doubles as, I don't have a forecart.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I don't even own a forecart. This is what I use. I rake my hay with this.
Okay. Sure.
But the quick release it works pretty slick. I don't know if you've
Yep.
probably seen
I
it.
haven't seen that particular design, no.
So this is one we came up with. This arch is really tight. You know, this little triangular piece
Right.
is just not a lot of room to work with without making it kind of hazard. And see, the DoubleTree used to ride right here. That's originally what the plans called for, and it calls it to be a critical dimension. All right. Well, when you take a critical dimension to a tool maker, I'm thinking 2 or 3 thousandths, the width of a hair. You know, so critical dimension. Well, that wasn't accurate. It's not a critical dimension. In fact, the farther you move this point forward, the more leverage the horses have on the log. So see back here, if you get on a real big log, it'll pick tongue up.
Right.
But if you move forward 15 inches, I've yet to raise that tongue. So, and plus, this right here was a danger. This thing's scissoring back here.
Oh, sure.
So I've got it up here out of the way now, and I think I broke a toe one time on that, and that's what inspired that move to get it in front of this. I actually built a bumper before I moved this to where it'll come forward and hit this, and it still lets it, it lets it come some, but
not all the way around.
So, you know, if I need to move back to this one, I've got it where it won't scissor and pinch your foot now.
Right.
But for the leverage part of it, this is way better. And I don't notice 15 inches in the woods. You know, I was worried about adding 15 inches on my length with my turning radiuses.
Right.
But I don't notice that at all. So this is really.
Well, the DoubleTree would almost be in the wheels, wouldn't it? When it's scissoring around.
Well, it would come back. It's high enough that it wouldn't get in the wheels. But yeah, it'll come right all the way back against that.
Yeah. So how does that release work now?
Okay. So it's just a simple. Like it right there. You got 2 springs. That spring's broke, but 2 springs pulls that back. It's probably a little more machine work and complicated than most people. You know, a lot of them use that little rod that's got a lever on them, and that's fine. It works. I don't have a bit of problem, but I didn't like the idea of that rod being in my way, especially back then when the DoubleTree was there.
Right.
So this here keeps everything pretty compact, and it works really good.
And so the original plan would just have had notches going all the way across.
I started out originally with it going all the way across.
Yeah.
And that takes such a big piece of steel, and when you go to welding all the way across that, it's hard to keep it from warping, and it was expensive. And I like having a couple of the stationary ones too. You can actually leave, you know, if you drop your chain off at the landing, you can leave one of the stationary ones hooked up, and you're still holding on to it. Or if just
gives you something to carry things with.
Yeah. Over there's where Dad, that's his little building. He makes maple syrup over there.
Okay.
But the trees are not running very good this year.
No.
It's not been cold enough, and back when it was cold enough, it wasn't the right, didn't get warm enough during the day, and I think he had a small run yesterday, about 30 gallons he cooked off. I didn't tell you I was taking you back into the wilderness. I guess did I?
Well, that I'm used to, but you're climbing up a wall here.
And we had that last rain last Sunday night. The water bar failed up there and let it down and started eroding the gravel.
Yeah, you got a gulch in the middle.
Oh, so I let my old horses rest a little bit more than I would a young team. It's uphill pretty much all the way. There's a few little dips and turns, but they're pretty well climbing the whole time. There's about a 300-foot elevation change between the bottom to the top of all these hills. This whole range is about 300 foot. And a lot of places it's steep. You know, you take one step and you'll be at the bottom. Let's step back, back. Little hole. Ooh, that's good right there. Okay, guys. Blondie, Pilgrim, come up. Whoa! Take it on the top, guys. Blondie, Pilgrim, come up. Whoa! I like to do that, and that's not hard to teach horses to do. I'm not trying to show out. I like to do that, so I stay away from all this dangerous debris. You know, after you break a foot a time or two, get out of the way. The horses are well equipped to be able to be trained to do that. It's not hard on them at all. All right, so what we had happen here was we've got this black oak tree that's rotted in the side. We needed to get it down, and there was no room to put it down without tearing up. There was 2 ash trees in our way, which the ash is dying from the ash borer anyway. So I went ahead and I pre-notched 2 ash trees and 1 little poplar. And when the red oak fell down, it took down 2 of the 3. So 3 out of 4 hit the ground.
Yeah, it knocked the 3rd one over, but it didn't knock it down.
So we've got this one hung here. This is the stump it actually came from over here. We've already tried to roll it over and we've drug it over, and it's still just holding tight up there in the top. So we're kind of scotched on this little mountain maple here. So we're going to have to redo our rope and pulley, and we're going to redirect it back here to the cherry, and hopefully we can get enough leverage to get it on the ground. But you just never know with this stuff here. And if it don't, we'll do something else. It's not a big deal. 2 things, you got a hitch and a knot. Right. And so if you're going around something, it's a hitch. And I just learned this not too long ago. But
no, it makes sense.
Up. Back, a little more. Back. Whoa. What I'll do is I'll just grab this one here. And so I don't know the name of this hitch, but you make a bite, you double your rope back, that's called a bite, and then just take your hand and run it here and catch that, and then just pull that back through. And that's all there is to it. And then you put it on this choker hook, which is tapered as it goes this way, so it makes it easy to get your slack back and get it off. Come up, come up. Whoa. Good job, boys. Good. Good job. That's all we had to do. Good job.
This program is available for purchase. To order your copy, please call 319-362-3027 or visit www.ruralheritage.com. Rural Heritage is a bi-monthly magazine dedicated to draft animal farming and logging, as well as other aspects of our rich rural heritage. It is published by Mishka Press, which also offers a complete line of back-to-the-land books, DVDs, and calendars. Call or write for a catalog or subscription information, or visit our website at www.ruralheritage.com.